Now, it's been a while since I've been able to put out a video. I've been having some problems with the NVIDIA graphics card on my computer. You know how NVIDIA is. But I was supposed to have a video out last week on Halloween, but I couldn't quite make it. But today, we're going to talk about the scariest thing on XDA anyways, and that is noobs. Hi there, Adam here. Today we're going to make a USB device for Android. Now, for those of you who don't know about the Arduino platform, this is actually an Arduino clone. It's made by Borderless Electronics, and the actual board that this replicates is the Arduino Leonardo. The Leonardo costs $35, and this board, there's an Indiegogo Kickstarter kind of campaign going on right now, where you can get this for $15, and it's the exact same thing as an Arduino Leonardo. Or, you know, you can get some better stuff, hook up to Ethernet and a whole bunch of other things for about $49. Anyways, I've been having a lot of problems lately with Special Noob. And for those of you who can't read back there, Special Noob has a lot of problems. So let's go ahead and address some of those problems.
Alright, so the first thing we have to do in order to get this device working as a USB keyboard with our Android device is to get the Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. And the IDE that we're going to use to program this Arduino capable device is Arduino. So we type sudo apt-get install Arduino. And it's going to take a little bit in order to get this firmware installed. So while we're waiting, we'll talk a little bit about the project. Now, we're going to be using the keyboard message example as the base for this project, and we're going to be flashing that firmware to our Arduino device. Now, this takes a little bit of setup here. As you can see, what they've got here is a bit of a breadboard connected up to a button with a resistor here, and we're not going to get too much into the electronics, but you can do this exactly the same way that you see it right here on the screen, the same way that I've hooked it up. I've just got my board moved over a little bit, so I've got wires in different positions, but the exact same thing. You just get yourself an Arduino. As long as it has the USB capabilities on it, it can be used with Android. The other thing you'll need is one of these little USB host adapters, and that'll allow you to use just about any USB device. So now, why would you want to program your own keyboard input device for your Android? Well, the answer to that's simple. If you have a lot of repetitious stuff, say you're a developer and you're answering the same question over and over and over again, well, you can just pull out this device, press a button, and you're done. Another example is maybe you have your own online business and you're responding to the same questions over and over again. Well, then you might want to have this available so that you can just hook it up to your Android device, press a button. You got your instant response. Alright, so now that we have the Arduino environment downloaded, what we can do is we can type sudo Arduino, and this should just bring it up, and what we have here is our Arduino development environment. So now, here we need to set up a few things. We want to make sure that we have Arduino Leonardo as the board, otherwise you might get some compilation errors. And you want to have the serial port set up properly. This is ACM0 here. It's a funky name, but hey, that's what it's called. So if you have problems, try changing the board, try changing the serial port. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and load up the keyboard example, keyboard message. Alright, so now let's go on through and look at this code, exactly what it does. It'll go through, it'll initialize the button, which is pin 4. We can see that button pin 4 right here is initialized as an input, and it begins the keyboard. So next, what happens is the loop starts after the setup. After the setup, there's always the loop. So it will look at the pin, and it will see if the pin is not equal to the last state of the pin. Then it will say, okay, if the state is high, which means this 5-volt line is connected up to pin 4. By pressing this button, so the button's being pressed right now if the pin state is high, then it will increment the counter, then print out, you press the button, the number of the counter, and then times. So let's go ahead and upload this, and let's see what happens when we press the button. You press the button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Now that's done. Let's go ahead and modify this for our purposes. Alright, so as you can see here, Special Noob has a question, and Special Noob actually has a lot of questions. But Most Special Noobs questions can be answered by a simple response, so let's go ahead and make an auto response device. So what we're going to do here is we'll put in an if statement, and we'll say if counter equals 1, and we can say keyboard.print. Alright, now else if counter equals 2, keyboard.print. Alright, so now for this final one right here, what we're going to want to do is we need to reset the counter, so that way it gets up to 4, and then it prints the 4th message, and then what it will do is restart itself. So we'll say counter equals 0. So now the difference between this equals and this equals is when you have 2 equals in a row, that's compare. So if the counter compares equal to 4, then do this. And then we're saying here counter equals 0, so we actually are setting the counter to equal 0. Finally, what we want to do is get rid of the old keyboard buttons right here. We don't want to have that message typed out. So let's go ahead and upload this. And it appears I have a syntax error, so we need to go ahead and type capital keyboard. And there we go. Let's hit upload again.
Alright, so we are about ready to start responding to Special Noob. But what we need to do first is connect up this little device to our tablet. And as you can see, we've got a good connection here. So we'll go ahead and hit reply. We can go ahead and press this button. And we can hit send. Pretty much all of Special Noob's questions can be answered by using this simple little button right here. Special Noob looks like he's asking entirely too many questions. It really seems like he could use some searching on the XDA forums. Alright, so maybe all of Special Noob's questions can't just be answered with just a simple button press. So that's all for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and add me to your circles on Google+. Go to plus.adamoutler.com. Until next time, hack on.